And we are live, everyone, for a new episode of the Electrek podcast. I am Fred Lambert, your host, and as usual, I'm joined by Seth Wincham. How are you doing today, Seth?
I'm good.
All right, so I guess as you imagine, a lot of today's episode is going to be around the Cybertruck launch yesterday. Even though we had this watch party, if you joined us yesterday, but it was more like a real live reaction, and even then we didn't have all the details because the event itself didn't get a lot of good reaction. Really, like it was a lot of rehashing of the 2019 event. A few pieces of specs that were confirmed that in the event that was nice. There was a few cool moments like the towing of the quarter mile race against the 911, and now it turns out that the Cybertruck is towing a 911 also. So that was cool, but for the most part, like no one was very impressed by the event itself. So, and the biggest concern was like the event ended, Elon started delivering the Cybertrucks, and you're like, wait, what are you doing, Elon? You didn't talk about the range, you didn't talk about pricing. And then, sure enough, it sounds like there was a good reason for that they didn't discuss that in the event that is more publicized, is because it's not the best news on that front. So we had to look into the Cybertruck's updated configurator website. Well, it's not a configurator; it's an updated website, and in the order page, you have all the details in terms of pricing and range. So we can jump into that. Yeah, so. You have three trims now. They are called rear-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, and Cyber Beast. In practice, the rear-wheel drive is a single rear-wheel drive motor. The all-wheel drive is a dual motor, front and back. And the Cyber Beast is the tri-motor, two in the back, one in the front.
Although it was kind of ambiguous. They said dual induction motor in the back. They didn't say two separate motors. It was weird the way they worded it.
Yeah. Mechanically linked. Range wise, so that's the big update for the range here. 250 miles of range, 300 for the rear wheel drive, 340 for the all wheel drive dual motor, and 320 for the Cyber Beast. So looks like if the all wheel drive and tri motor are both using the same battery pack. Oh, I skipped the price, by the way, right? Probably the biggest one.
Cares.
Yeah, no one cares. So it is almost exactly a 50% price increase across the entire lineup. So 61,000 for the base version at 250, which won't come until 2025, which is something we expected, but still. $80,000 for the dual motor, well, just short of $80,000. I wonder why. So that's the one that got a big increase here, like basically a $20,000 increase. And the Cyber Beast starts at $100,000, which is not too surprising. Like we would expect that there would be a version around that price. Now, the thing that threw even more confusion to the whole thing is something called a range extender. Okay, so that was mentioned like on the order page, but there was not that much detail. That's why I later updated it, and Elon commented on it on Twitter. Drew Baglino also. So now we have the details of the range extender. So let's jump right in while we're at it. I posted a separate article with it.
It was nice to see Elon reply to you after.
Yeah. He actually replied on Twitter to me, which is surprising. He hasn't done that in a long time. X, I should say, to please him. So Twitter.
Now you're in trouble again.
Yeah, no, I'm back on the blacklist. So there it is. If you're watching the live stream right now on YouTube, we have the image here of the range extender, which is a box that fits perfectly into the bed of the Cybertruck, and it is closer to the cabin. So it is next to the cabin, leaving about 2/3 of the rear of the Cybertruck's bed empty for cargo. And it almost flush with the light bar in the Cybertruck's bed, but there's still some room between that range extender toolbox and the top of the tonneau, so you could still put some stuff on top of it. Not that much, though. Yeah. No word on price of that box, on the weight of that box, on the capacity of that box, other than how much range it adds. So in terms of adding range, for the dual motor version, it goes from 340 to, they say, 470 plus. So not sure what that plus, let's say 470 just to be safe. 320 Cyber Vs go for 440. So it adds about 130, 120 miles of range for these models. They don't mention anything for the rear-wheel drive version, as if you cannot add one, which I don't like that. Like, this is an optional toolbox that you can put in. Like, why would you not let someone who would buy the base version also buy that? Makes no sense.
Well, I mean, it's going to have a smaller battery, the rear-wheel drive version, because it only goes 250 miles.
Yeah.
So maybe they're like, well, instead of getting the range extender, just upgrade to the all-wheel drive version.
Yeah, but then there's no way to get longer range with the rear-wheel drive. If you like, a lot of people don't really need that all-wheel drive. So, I don't know.
Yeah, it would be nice if there's an all-wheel drive with the bigger battery.
Just for range. Exactly, with a smaller battery. Anyway, so this is how, like, if you look at the range, obviously the range is one of the big disappointment of this event, because Tesla was quoting like a $80,000 truck that would go 500 miles of range. Now you get a $100,000 truck that gets 320 miles of range. And if you want to get closer to that 500 miles of range, you got to go with the dual motor version, which is $80,000, so the same price as the tri-motor version was supposed to be. And you don't even get that 500 miles; you get 470 miles, and that's with the extended box, the extended range box that removes a big part of your cargo. Now, I'm still a bit digesting this whole idea of a range extender, which is not completely new. We know that Rivian is working on something similar too. They filed a patent for that last year. Tesla has also mentioned that as a possibility in the past, but never with the Cybertruck. There was like a range extending trailer they talked about and all that. But a box, this is kind of new. But there's definitely some advantage and disadvantage with it. I listed some in my article here. Like, obviously, disadvantage, it takes up cargo space. That's the obvious one. So the way that Elon and Drew Baglino framed it, Elon said that it's meant for very long trips and towing heavy things up the mountains. And Drew Baglino also implied that you get it in and out of the truck. So you only put it in when you need it, basically. So that is definitely an advantage. I like that, because if you don't need the extra range with it, it's not in the truck. Your truck is more efficient, gonna cost less to operate. Makes perfect sense.
How do you get it in
need
and out?
it? So that's the thing. So then when you need it, you put it in, and you get extra range. Now the big question is, like, this is like, I estimate between 30 and 40 kilowatt hour of energy capacity in there.
Close to 1,000 pounds.
Yeah, it's gonna at very least several hundred pounds. Not gonna be easy even for two average size adults to put this in and out of the vehicle. It won't be easy at all. I don't know, maybe it's gonna come with some kind of lift of car jack that you can lift it up to the height of the bed and just like slide it in. That would make sense, I think. Like, that not only would make sense, like it would also almost be like necessary for that. Like, otherwise, like, you need like 3 or 4 like strong guys to get it in and out without hurting themselves. Now, so it's not clear how do you plug it in the truck exactly.
Yeah, and it's not just you don't just need like DC connections. You probably also want to have thermal management stuff going through there. Like, I don't know if you would have the coolant, heating go through there.
I would assume that that's in the packets, that everything
you think
is
it has its own thermal management system.
I would assume so, yeah. That would be hard to yeah. I think it's more like connecting to the rest of the system inside the vehicle, because there is outlets. There's a 240 volt outlet in the back, but that's not it. Like, you need like a different connection for that. So
yeah,
I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know exactly how that works. But again, we don't know when it's coming. We don't have pricing yet too. The pricing is important, because the pricing would give us like a true look at exactly like what happened between the 2019 thing and now, because like we can compare now. Like, obviously price went up 50%, range went down But then we can have the extender to compare the range closer to the 2019 level. But then we're gonna have to add the cost of the range extender to truly compare that. So yeah, it is one of the very rare occasions where Tesla actually let us down in terms of specs between prototype unveiling and production release. This is very much a first time, but at the same time, it's a different product. It's like the range extender thing is a new product. The only thing where I would actually like not I would like look at it negatively for Tesla is like they didn't even talk about it at the event.
Yeah,
Like I had to
we didn't
ask Elon on X about it for him to clarify the situation. Like to me, terrible like communication strategy. Obviously, not talking about it, but especially like you screwed up. Okay, I don't know if I don't want to say necessarily they screwed up because that 500 miles of range, like they could have made the Cybertruck with 500 miles of range if they wanted to, but it would have been a lot more expensive and probably not as great handling and probably like not as efficient most of the time. Like the 90% of the time that you use it without that 500 miles of range, you're carrying this giant battery pack around for no reason.
Right, and also they wouldn't be able to get it under $80,000
for sure. Well, I mean, yeah, most likely not. So now you end up with a situation where you found a solution. You found a solution to these issues. Like, let's do a removable battery pack that you can add when you need it, and it's going to be good for people that tow. It's going to be good for people that travel long distances. But explain to us that solution, because if you don't, now it looks like you're being sneaky, like you screwed up, like, oh, we screwed up, and now this is the botch solution that we have, like the last minute thing we threw together that gives us the range that we promised, and even then, not really. Instead of like, hey guys, so we ended up with having difficulties producing the Cybertruck at the range that we wanted, at the price that we wanted, especially with the last few years of inflation, all that is difficult. But we found a solution that I think might be a good compromise for everyone. And then you explain this whole strategy of how this extended battery pack worked. They didn't do that, so that's a bit disappointing to me.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many questions about that thing. Like, you know, is it safe? Like, it's going to be super heavy. Like, if you get in a front accident, is that thing coming through the cab? Second, like, now Tesla has a modular battery system. Like, this could be a huge deal. You know, other third parties could come along with their own batteries that you could plug in. You know, Tesla probably won't like that idea, won't allow it.
Yeah, that would be.
But Tesla can come up with different sizes.
I think the biggest advantage too is I put it in there and is as a home charger, as a Powerwall alternative.
Yeah, when you're not using it, it could be a Powerwall.
Yeah, and then 30 kilowatt hours. That's like $20,000 worth of Powerwall that could be sitting in your garage.
Yeah, and then so Tesla could resurrect their battery swapping station idea as well. You could have these all over the place, and your Cybertruck's running low on electricity. You just plop a battery on there and you go further. Or they could rent these out from Tesla dealers. Like, hey, you're going on a long trip, you need one of these for a weekend, come in and get it. A lot of
all great ideas. All great ideas that should have all been like that should have been the one more thing that could have been the one more thing at the event. Like, look, this is what we announced.
That event was a nightmare.
We can do a one more thing and talk to you. Well, there could have been one more things they could have talked about. There's this, and then there's a Powershare thing, which also plays together now that we just talked about the possibility of using that extended battery pack as a Powerwall. So you could have like matched all together. We're launching the Cybertruck, but also we're launching this external battery pack system, and we're launching Powershare. They could have done all of that at the same time, and they screwed that up big time, I think.
By the way, I even called that they should do the Powershare thing as a one more thing before the event, and they could have made me right.
All right, so let's go back here real quick to make sure I'm not skipping too much. Oh yeah, there was this demo was also impressive, like but it set at a really good point right before the show too about that. So they did this this pull, basically, where demonstration where they pull a giant truck and see how much distance they can cover with it. And the Cybertruck beat significantly the F-150 Lightning, Rivian R1T that came in third, and the Ford F-150 Ford 350 diesel, which is a very powerful truck. So that's impressive. But then set at a good point, because they did have an R1T and a F-150 Lightning.
Where's the tug of war?
Yeah,
they were going to have a tug of war, and they have the vehicles. They're sitting out on the dirt. I wonder if it's the Cybertruck tires weren't up for the challenge, or I mean, obviously
yeah, I don't.
They did well in the pool.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I would think it'd do well in the tug of war too. So for those that don't remember, right after the 2019 reveal, Tesla released a video of a tug of war between the Cybertruck and F-150 gas pickup truck, and that video went viral, like super viral, and could gather a lot of attention for the Cybertruck. So, and there was a lot of talks about a remake, especially the F-150 Lightning was coming up and all that, but they never did it. And not even then this time. All right. In the back here, Tesla confirmed having, not just in the back, there's 4 120 volt outlet all around the vehicle, 2 in the cabin up to 20 amp, 2 in the bed of the truck, and a third plug in the bed of the truck that is 240 volt up to 40 amp, which is like a decent like car charger basically that you can have in there. So that is part of this new Powershare idea, but Jamie did a whole new article about it that goes into more details about Tesla's plan for that. So Tesla confirmed that the Cybertruck is the first first Tesla vehicle with bidirectional charging capability. Vehicle to load, vehicle to home, and vehicle to vehicle capability. So basically vehicle to everything. And so on top of the outlets that we just discussed, they have a 9.6 kilowatt continuous rear power output that the Cybertruck can have. And the biggest advantage that Tesla has over the competition right now, especially the Lightning, for example, we know that the Lightning is like a $4,000 units that you need to buy to be able to use the power capability of the Cybertruck at your home. And even then, we heard that the availability of that is not super easy either. Tesla use all its own hardware basically, so you need a Tesla. There's a mention of both a Tesla wall connector and universal connector. I'm not sure, like they're basically the same thing with just the magic dock. So I don't think just a wall connector works fine. And you need a gateway, which is like the brain of the Powerwall, or depending on the version of the Powerwall, because I think now there's some version of the Powerwall that includes a gateway, but you only need that wall connector, Powerwall, and optionally a backup switch if you want to go island the house. So
which most people already have if they have a Powerwall setup already.
Yeah, exactly. So most people already have all that. If you have a Powerwall, well, actually they all have all that. So you literally don't need anything else. If you just buy a Cybertruck, now you have your Powerwall's capability plus your Cybertruck's 120 kilowatt hour battery pack, and maybe an extended battery pack. I don't know. So you have that, and then if not, well, you just need a wall connector, which you're most likely gonna buy anyway, because there's. I get away at home without charging my my vehicle on the wall connector on just a 120 volt outlet. But the Cybertruck obviously is going to be a little longer to charge on that. So you're probably better getting a level 2 charger. So you get a wall connector, and then you buy a gateway. So the gateway is really the only main thing that you like extra that you buy, and that's $1,800, which is like literally half the price of the Power Home hardware from Ford. So this is probably one of the biggest advantage of the Cybertruck in terms of using vehicle to grid capabilities, vehicle to home. So there's no mention of vehicle to grid, but if the Powerwall does Powerwall to grid, then technically this should do vehicle to grid, right?
Yeah, I mean, another huge opportunity missed to talk about this, and here's why. Because we've talked about in the past, like people in Texas and California selling their Powerwall back into the grid and making a ton of money. Well, this is like 10 times the size of a Powerwall. So you're talking about 10x. Like you could sell so much of your Cybertruck battery back into the grid. And of course, like Tesla probably doesn't want to do this because, you don't want to do cycles on the battery, but like in a super peak when it's worth a lot of money, the
Yeah.
power, like put that stuff back in the grid and make, like 10 times the cost of the electricity. I think people
Oh
would
yeah.
really do it.
Sometimes it's like in the dollars per kilowatt hour.
Right.
So like $3 per kilowatt hour. I've seen at times like you unload like 50 kilowatt hours off your battery pack in that time, which maybe unlikely because that's a 9.6 continuous power output, so it would take several hours to do, and normally the peaks they last they can last several hours, but normally no more than 3 or something like that. You can still make like a $50, $100, something like that, which makes a big difference.
Do you hear
Are
a
you
noise?
good, sir? Yeah, definitely coming from you, no? I think so.
Oh, you know what? It was my my Nest. Crap. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, on Tesla has now released a Powershare website. Is it Powershare? Yeah, Powershare website where you can have a lot of details. Yeah.
One other thing is, with everybody else going NACS, theoretically, everybody else that has a car with ability to put power back in the power wall or back into the grid or back into the home, theoretically, if you get a Hyundai Ioniq 5 with the ability to put power back in the house, a Tesla charger will allow you to use that. So like, wow, Tesla's already way ahead of the game here. And I don't know if it uses the same standards, if they're talking about that, if that capability will exist, but like hardware wise, it's pretty much there. They just kind of have to get the vehicle and the stuff to talk to each other. So Tesla's really ahead of the game there with this product, and they didn't even talk about it.
They didn't even take the opportunity. All the eyes were on them for the Cybertruck. They didn't take the opportunity. And okay, like this is speculation though. It's not confirmation, but we've been speculating that maybe even new Tesla vehicles, like Model 3, Model Y, S and X, might have that capability with the new charger. Being we suspect it's the same one that is the onboard charger in those cars. The new one is the same one that is in the Powerwall 3. Which is bidirectional. So there's maybe every new car coming off the line could potentially be bidirectional.
Yeah, and they should probably announce something soon because people are going to start waiting on when they expect this kind of thing to happen. Or they should just say, hey, look, the hardware's there. We just need to come out with the software, and we're a few months behind on that or something.
Yeah, and on top of it, like Tesla has managed to find a way to like sell the Powerwalls through this. Like it still makes more sense to have a Powerwall in this, I think, like especially like cost wise now and everything, but especially if you're gonna cycle it often. Now at the same time, like with the Cybertruck, now it might make more sense to have the wall connector, the gateway, and an extended battery pack, a range extender that you use as a power wall, and then you can unplug when you want, and like this, so no power walls anymore. So in those occasions, like I guess it would cannibalize the power wall market a little bit, but other than that, it is complementary to the Tesla's Powershare. So yeah, it's all wins for Tesla on there, but decided not to do it. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. To be fair, like we've been criticizing Tesla a lot, but there's a lot of great things about the Cybertruck. A lot of innovation with the Cybertruck that Tesla needs to be applauded for. 48 volt confirmed, kind of was already confirmed, so it's not like it's not as big of news, but it's in production right now. It is on the market. You can buy a consumer vehicle with 48 volt system instead of 12 volt system. We needed someone to be the first to do it. Like the 12 volt system have been around for, I don't even know when. Do you know since when cars have been using 12 volt system?
We're talking like 100 years.
Yeah, I mean, and in some ways, that the 12 volt system has killed the electric car in the past. So for those that don't remember, like in the early days of the automotive industry, steam cars, electric cars, and gasoline vehicles were like 30% of the market each, basically. And electric cars didn't have high performing batteries back then, which put them behind. But they did have the advantage of being easy to use, because you just get in and start the engine, or the electric motor more specifically, easily, and you can go. While with a gasoline vehicle, you had to crank it to start the motor like you do an old mower, an old grass mower. So that was difficult to do. Women had difficulties doing it, even if they could, and even men had difficulties doing it. So it was a very inefficient way to start a vehicle. And then when someone, I don't know, I would like to be able to give credit to that person, but at the same time, they might have had a very bad impact on the environment by doing
Right.
that. Is that they figure out, wait, yeah, the electric car here, that's so easy to start because it has a battery that you just turn on. Why we don't put a small battery to do the job of the crank and start the engine on the gasoline motor, and then anyone can just press a button and starts the car. And that kicked off along with other things, obviously the proliferation of gas stations and all that, but helped the gasoline vehicle take over the market. And it took almost 100 years for electric cars to make a comeback. And but in that time, we stuck with a 12-volt system because it worked for the most part. But obviously, higher voltage has the clear advantages, especially in terms of cost of wires and all that, weight of the wires also. But I think the status quo was maintained by the fact that you have a lot of accessories, like aftermarket accessories that work on 12-volt, that are like standard that you can put on any cars. That now doesn't work with that if you go for 48 volts. But yeah, now things have changed around. Tesla has been the first to. Well, now some people says that they're not the first. Car used to be 6-volt. Oh no, okay, it is the first. Yeah, so it's the first to do the move, go to 48-volt, and they say that they save 70% of the wires inside the vehicle.
Significant.
They cut down 70% of the wires by doing that, which is massive. I recommend that you go check out like an exploded view of a car, just how much wire there is in there. If you can cut 70% of that, it is quite the win. So you have that. You have steer-by-wire that also confirmed with the release of the truck. That's also a big innovation. Now, Tesla is not exactly the first to do that, steer-by-wire. There's been some steer-by-wire cars in the past, but they haven't taken off just yet. Probably be the biggest vehicle program if they are aiming to 250, 300,000 cars a year with steer-by-wire. So maybe it's the one that has a shot to make it more popular. Now, we've been saying that Tesla should have waited to release their yoke steering wheel. They should have waited for steer-by-wire before releasing their yoke steering wheel, just because of the progressive steering ability that you can put in a steer-by-wire car versus something with a mechanical linkage like other Tesla vehicle. Now, the Cybertruck has kind of not exactly a yoke wheel, but yoke-looking wheel, so it's going to be useful for that. And it makes even already the turning radius of the vehicle, that's incredible, thanks to the rear wheel steering, which is also new technology. It's not a new technology, but it's because it's 20 years old or something like that, but it's making kind of a resurgence right now in some vehicles. So Tesla is part of that too. But yeah, I think the 48-volt system, steer-by-wires, some great innovation into the Tesla vehicle. Powershare, obviously. They didn't show the interior much during the event. They didn't focus on the interior much.
Nope.
It's pretty bare. It's pretty like minimalist looking. Like I said, the yoke. It's not really a yoke steering wheel. It's much closer to a regular steering wheel, but still flat top, flat bottom. The
Yeah, and
screen is
because
yeah. Go
it's
ahead.
steer-by-wire, you don't have to go all the way around. You can just go, I think,
Yeah.
like 270 degrees each direction. So, when you're backing up, you don't have to like go, 3 times.
Mm-hmm. The screen is a little bit bigger than the one in the Model 3 Model Y right now. Even the back screen too is also 9 inches, which is a little bit bigger than the one in the 3 and Y.
I thought it was interesting that the gear shift was at the top. I don't know if that's
on the rear mirror.
So if you want to shift gears, you're going up like that. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, but you also have it on the screen, like you do in the Model
Right.
S. I think that's going to be the more common way that people are going to use it. All right. Should we do a quick head read before we continue?
You know what? Okay. Yeah. Give me a
Yeah.
second.
Our sponsor this week is VMAX. I think I forgot to mention it at the beginning of the show, by the way. So sorry about that. But VMAX is they build high quality e-scooter with superior performance, and we're gonna have a few of them that we're gonna show you right now: the VX5, VX2, the VX2 Pro, VX4, and also some of their high-speed race scooters. Do you have?
Can't find it. Let's go one more story and then I'll read.
Okay,
Sorry, guys.
No problem. We already have some Tesla Cybertruck accessories that were released after the launch. The matte satin matte wrap, black matte satin wrap. That's quite a mouthful. We've seen it. We reported on it a few months ago. It was spotted in the wild, so we expected that Tesla would release its own wrap with the Cybertruck, and they did it this time with. It's just a render. We don't have the original image in there. No, not cheap. It's okay. So you have another option that's just a satin wrap. And you can have it in white too. So you can have it stainless steel. You can have it wrapped clear stainless steel, but with the satin finish. You can have it black and you can have it white. So these are the three basically color that you can get it. And $6,500. So it's not cheap, but I think it's cheaper than it's cheaper than the Model 3 Model Y wrap that Tesla is offering in the house too.
Yeah, I guess because there's no like curved surfaces or very few curved surfaces.
Very few. Yeah. So that was our speculation that it might actually be cheaper with the Cybertruck because it's a cleaner line. So it's interesting. That is available right now. Are you good with VMAX?
Let's go. All right. Today's episode is sponsored by VMAX Mobility Inc., one of Europe's leading e-scooter brands. The brand was founded in 2015 and is headquartered in Switzerland. After 8 years of growth in Europe, VMAX e-scooters are now available in North America. VMAX UL certified e-scooters offer exceptional performance and reliability with a motor, battery, controller, and frame that are all built to last for years. The brand's high-quality components are all made in VMAX's ISO certified facility for maximum control over safety and design. On the company's latest models, you'll find integrated turn signals, ultra-bright front lights, responsive brake lights, tubeless tires with superior tire tread, an anti-slip deck, and built-in suspension. You'll also find a powerful motor, high torque, instant responsiveness, advanced electronics, and regenerative braking for unmatched performance. VMAX offers an industry-leading 24-month warranty, and with nationwide repair shops and local U.S. warehouse for parts, servicing is easy. Check out the latest VX5, VX2 Pro, and VX4 models, and stay tuned for the exciting new VX3. If you're a speed enthusiast, don't miss the company's R40 and R55 high-speed race scooters. Visit vmax-escooter.us or visit the show notes and use promo code VMAX Electrek for exclusive offers for a limited time. Thanks again to VMAX for sponsoring.
Yes, thank you, VMAX. All right, we have a few more items I wanted to discuss with you today. If you're listening to the show right now, I appreciate you for tuning in. If you can give us a like, a thumbs up, whatever it is on the app that you're watching right now, we're live everywhere. It takes a second to do. It's free to do, and it helps the show more than you can imagine. If you're listening right now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever, if you can give us a 5-star review, that's also free to do. It takes a second, and it helps the show more than you can imagine. All right. A few more things to discuss Cybertruck before we move to a few other news items. The decal things. I don't know. Jamie wrote an article about that. I don't even know what. Okay, it's because I posted all the article in the news hub for the Cybertruck. Yeah, they decided to sell a decal that you can put in the back window of the Cybertruck that looks exactly like the crack window in the original event. for $55, which is kind of expensive. But yeah, I mean, that was another part of the event that was a bit weird, where Elon was like, you remember when we did that
Super
thing, and it
weird
was like super
and uncomfortable.
crazy. We broke the window. Well, let's do it again. This time we'll get it right. And they redo the event, but instead of doing it with a steel ball, they would do it with a baseball, which is not
and not just any baseball, but a baseball that like bounces around like a Super Ball. So it's probably
Yeah.
like, you know, one of those kids like rubber baseballs. And then
Well,
afterwards,
a regular baseball can bounce too on a hard surface. It bounces pretty hard.
yeah, but it was kind of active.
Yeah.
So and then Franz really did not throw it hard at all. He was kind of like,
Well, to be fair, that's probably a safety issue, because it was gonna bounce like crazy. So if he were going too hard at it, it might have like bounced into the crowd or something.
yeah.
But
I
yeah, I
mean,
mean, it
that was
is
a
one of
big
yeah.
big
It's one of those
embarrassment, like cringy moment.
example. Yeah, one of those example of like when Elon, you know, he kind of flirts with the truth sometime, and he's like this is a good example. Is like he tells you, "Are we going to redo what we did last year?" It's like, or last time. Not like it looks like it if you don't know what you're looking at, but right away we're like, "Is that not a steel ball? That's a baseball." So yeah. But at the same time, they also showed like the bulletproof capacity, but the bulletproof capacity is just for the steel panels. Obviously, it's not for the
Yeah,
windows. The
so
windows are
like
not bulletproof.
doesn't make like the glass is clearly not bulletproof. And then also on the, you know, on the website, they have a picture of a snowball hitting the window. And they're like,
A hell ball, sir. Come on.
okay, whatever. Like an ice snowball, the kind that you would throw at somebody. And you know, and they say it can withstand hail from 20 feet, which, you know, obviously that's problematic because that's a low cloud
Yeah.
dropping those hail balls.
Another Tesla accessory that was unveiled. There was a bunch, by the way. It was like a lot of them are like cargo related stuff. So like boxes that slide perfectly into the bed, a ramp for vehicle, bikes, and all that. But this one was a little bit more interesting. It's a little bit more custom to Tesla, to the Cybertruck in particular. We talked about. Oh no, I don't think we talked about it, because I think it leaked earlier this week, after the last.
Yeah, it was part of
podcast.
the app.
Yeah, the app leak that was earlier this week. But it's the Basecamp Cybertruck tent. So there was this image from the original unveiling. So it evolved quite a bit since then. That is the official one. That is the rendered one from the original event.
I like the
It's
rendered
not
one
cheap.
better.
It is not cheap. It is $3,000, and it looks like this from the inside. So you see it comes with a mattress, so at least you have a mattress, but those cost like $100. You have a nice view. This one, like, I don't know where they are, like in Iceland, maybe. This is the view when it's completely packed. It fits nicely on top of the railing, below the tonneau cover, so you can have like a full bed basically and still have the tent in there. This is another view where you can see even when deployed, you can still use the same section of the bed of the truck, I should say. Like, then the actual bed where you sleep is on top of that. So yeah, it looks like a decent design, but a little bit expensive for my taste. Oh, you have a video of them putting it together, I would hope. No?
I guess they just did a short video.
Yeah. I thought they would show a video of...
You know, it's a shame that the back window doesn't go down, because they could use the heat from inside the car to heat up the tent.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if there's a way to get I mean, yeah, you know, I don't think a lot of people are going to get the tent, but it would be kind of cool to have a way to heat the tent from the cabin.
I think that's one of those that a lot of third parties are gonna take over, especially at that price. I think you can do a similar product for cheaper, and then you can do like crazier product too. We talked about plenty of people are working to make campers out of the Cybertruck. All right, last piece of things about the Cybertruck I want to discuss. Right before the show, right before the event yesterday, we were talking about like what could be like a one more thing type of moment in the Cybertruck unveiling. And I thought that Tesla is going to use the opportunity of like all the attention around it to sell their other vehicles. So whatever it could be, you thought maybe like the Powershare thing and all that. But sure enough, that's what this is doing. Right after the event, some Cybertruck reservation holders started getting emails from Tesla. The email read, Cybertruck is here and your reservation is in the queue, whatever that means. While you await delivery of your Cybertruck, get $1,000 off the lease or purchase of a new Tesla. Place your new order by December 21st, 2020 to qualify. 21st or 31st? I might have missed transcribed that. But yeah, Tesla is offering an extra $1,000 off on Model 3 Y, S, and X for Cybertruck reservation holders. Obviously, it's kind of a shot in the dark. Like if you're in the market for a Cybertruck, you might not necessarily be in the market for a sedan or an SUV. But at the same time, you might be a Tesla fan. Tesla is like, hey, maybe we can get you over the edge and order a truck that you can get in the next few weeks, rather than Cybertruck. Like that's one of the top questions people have been asking. Is like, when am I gonna get my own Cybertruck? Now it's like we're gonna learn a lot in the next few months with the ramp up, how the ramp up is gonna look like, but I think a lot of us are suspecting that Tesla is not going to deliver a ton of truck this year and the next month, and the ramp up is more for next year. So we'll see. The Volvo EX90 got a pricing in the US for the third row version that is coming up. So that's nice. We know that there's not a ton of third row SUVs that are full electric in the US, and Volvo has its own entry. And the pricing starts here. Yeah, right, there you go. So all the trims have been released here, and you have a clear look between. They're separated both with the twin motor performance version and 6 or 7 seater configuration. So it starts at $77,000. Wait a minute. The 7-seater is cheaper than the 6-seater?
Yeah, because the 6-seater has 2 like captain chairs, kind of like the or kind of like the Model X.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Which is kind of weird because it doesn't seem like it's almost like a car, and for a car to have like captain chairs is a little bit strange. But it's definitely, I think a lot of people are really excited about this vehicle. And 77,000. I don't think.
I mean, it's a $500 difference between the two, so it's not like that big of a difference.
Yeah, but I mean, just generally speaking, I think Volvo had set expectations for the car to be around $80,000, so it comes in a little bit less than what people were expecting. There should be some tax breaks because I think they're building this thing in South Carolina. I don't know about the batteries, but so that'll be good. Before we got our Rivian, we had our money on reservation for this one as well, and we're still thinking if we get rid of our Model Y, my wife might want one of these. I don't know. I kind of like the EX30 still, but I don't know.
Do you know the difference between the Plus and Ultra? It's probably just an interior package or something like that.
Yeah, interior. I think they all have the exact same drivetrain. So
yeah. The interior is solid. The Volvo, like the EX30, and this one even more. It's a little bit more luxurious, but I love their seats and everything. Volvo kills it with that.
Yeah, I almost feel a little bad for Polestar because they get the same drivetrain, but they don't have a third row option. And I think a lot of people are, jonesing for that. So the Polestar 3 is this exact same drivetrain, Geely designed, whatever. Geely designed, but built in North Carolina, so South Carolina.
The last piece of news I want to discuss before we jump into the comment section, and if you guys have any question for us about the Cybertruck or anything else we discussed today, or any subject in the V community, you can put it in the comment section right now. We're going to get to them in a few minutes. I think there are already plenty of comments, though, that we can discuss. But if you have any more questions, now is the time to put them in. This car dealer's letter that has been going around the media this week. So these group of almost 4,000 car dealers in the U.S. banded together to basically lobby the White House ahead of updated emission rules for the auto industry. that is gradually going to force automakers to produce more EVs up until 2035, when hopefully we go all electric. Should happen before that, but government has its own timeline. And the timeline is too aggressive for those car dealers. They want it to be slowed down. And the letter has caught a lot of attention because it sorts of confirms something that we I shouldn't even say suspected. We knew for a while that car dealers might be have a negative impact on electrification, on the adoption of EVs for legacy automakers that use the third-party car dealer model. Instead of being an ally in electrification, a lot of them are an enemy of electrification. Now, I want to say, like, every time we trash the car dealers, I always get a bunch of messages. It's like, I'm a car dealer and I'm super pro EV and all that. I know you're out there. I appreciate you. I don't want to generalize to everyone. And like, this is a good example because 4,000, it sounds like a lot. 4,000 car dealers in the US banded together to do that. It sounds like us, but there are 18,000 car dealers in the US. So it's actually a minority. It's a lot of them, but it's a minority. And I'm sure there's some of them that didn't sign the letter because they didn't know about it. And they would share the sentiment, but still. What really pissed me off about this letter is, like, first of all, they claim to be the voice of customers. They claim that we deal with customers every day, so we know more about customers, car buyers, than the government, think tank, lobbyists, and all that. We know best. Which I kind of have a gripe with you on that, because the relationship, for the most part, between customers and car dealers is an adversarial relationship. Like, it's not like on the same side of things. So you might have like you can say, like, let's say like an anti-terrorist organization is an expert in terrorists because they interact with them a lot, but like, you're not the representative of the terrorists. At least you would also, obviously, an extreme example here. I'm not saying that car dealers are terrorists, not really, but you know what I mean. So I didn't like that. That rubbed me the wrong way. But then the very first sentence of the letter that they sent to the president is a lie. We are auto dealers from across the country who collectively sell every major brand in the US. Right there, you just lied right away, because you don't sell Tesla vehicles, because Tesla doesn't use the dealership model. And Tesla is undoubtedly, at this point, a major brand in the US. They sell more electric vehicles than all other major brands combined. So that should tell you a lot. So that already a mistake there. And so when you look at the list of the car dealers, like, sure, all other brands are represented, except for Rivian and Lucid, obviously. But what also, like, pissed me off is the Polestar. There's some Polestar dealers in there. Like, it makes no sense. It's like, what are you guys doing? And then there's GM dealers in there, Volkswagen dealers, like companies, Ford dealers, companies that claim to be all in on electric vehicles. Obviously, these are not the companies. They don't represent the companies. They're dealers, but they sell exclusively cars from these companies. So what it does is, like, it shows you clearly that these people are going to be a problem. So like Ford and GM and Volkswagen should take note. It's like, all right, these people they're not going to help us sell our EVs. They're on the other side. And then I should give you the argument that they use in the letter, but they said last year there was a lot of hope and hype about EVs or the adapter from an initial line, and we're ready to buy these vehicles as soon as we had them to sell. But that enthusiasm has stalled. Today, the supply of unsold BEVs is surging, as they are not selling nearly as fast as they are arriving at our dealership, even with deep price cut, manufacturer incentive, and generous government incentive. All right, that also have a problem with this argument, because their argument is like, hey, help us stop these regulation that force our automakers to make EVs, because they keep piling up in our lots and we cannot sell them. So that's an opportunistic move from these dealers, because it's true that vehicles are piling up in their lots. But for the most part, those vehicles are not EVs. Yes, some of them are EVs, but new car inventory level is at an all-time high right now in the US, according to Cox Automotive. There's 2.4 million units of vehicles sitting on lots right now, and it takes 55 days on average to sell them, which is also a record. So yes, there's a pile up of vehicles, but 2.4 million vehicles, that's like twice as many vehicles as many electric vehicles as the US is gonna build all year. So it's definitely not the majority of them that are electric in there. It's probably not like a fraction of them that's electric on those lots. So yeah, it's true to the argument that there was a lot of hype last year about EVs. There's still a lot of hype about EVs, and a lot of people placed reservation last year, and now they're not taking delivery this year. And it's not because they are not enthusiastic about EVs as they try to claim in that letter. It's because it now costs like $100 more a month of interest to buy that car versus last year. So that is a massive problem, obviously. And the same thing is happening for gasoline cars. So that's why there's also gasoline car piling up on their lots. So yeah, dealership are being opportunistic, and they are taking this opportunity of having electric vehicles and non-electric vehicles on their lot to say, hey, they're not selling, stop those regulation, use that lobbying effort to have the government relax regulation that forces automakers to make EVs. It's opportunistic, it's short-sighted, it's a bad move, and the government should not listen to them.
Yep, can't really add anything to that. It's disappointing, but almost expected at this point.
Yeah. I mean, Jamie had this theory that a lot of like what the automakers are saying too, slowing down EV investments, and also some lobbying efforts on that front too. It's like might be some kind of concerted effort to like make a push on regulation right now.
I've heard that as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They can say, well, people aren't buying them, but like you're not putting them on the lots. So, and when you do put them on the lots, the dealers are hiding them and they don't want to sell them. So what do you expect? And meanwhile, Tesla and Rivian are doubling year over year. So
yeah, we reported this week on comments from like Mazda also like saying that people are moving too fast with electric vehicles. The demand is not there. He said, our electric vehicles, they don't sell. Electric vehicles don't sell. Only Tesla vehicles sells. The guy says that when Mazda has like one barely electric vehicle, is like, oh, it sucks. Like, well, of course, no one is buying your EV. And make a good one, and people's gonna buy it.
They made like a 20-year-old EV, like a compliance EV, and
it's not that bad too. Like for a city EV, it's great. And if they would just like put a little bit more range in it, it would actually be a pretty good car. But yeah, it's not great right now. All right, should we jump into the comment section? I think we have plenty of comments to discuss.
Yeah.
Today.
All right, Mr. Turkey Neck, where did you find prices for the accessory items?
They are on the website right now,
Yeah.
or they were yesterday at least.
Yeah, and I also saw some of the pictures from the event had some prices on some of the stuff, and some of the people tweeted out that stuff. All right, Sylvian, why you can have
all the prices on the website right now. Sorry.
Okay. Why you can have power vectoring like the Plaid?
We were talking probably about the decoupling of the rear engine of the rear motors, so you can do torque vectoring with each side.
All right, question. Didn't Elon keep saying that the Cybertruck is packed with technology? Do you know what tech is new and not in any other Tesla? We talked about that quite a bit.
So I think that comment came right before we went on a little rant about that.
All right, which is more likely? The single motor gets canceled, the range extender gets canceled, or both or neither?
Well, that's a good question, because Tesla is known for like if the one is ordering it, it goes away pretty fast. So that would be interesting. I think the rear motor one, the single motor one, could sell well, because especially like it's so much cheaper than anything else. Like it's $20,000 cheaper than the next model, and there's use case for that. Obviously, 250 miles of range is not huge, but there's plenty of use cases for it. So I don't think that's going to happen. The range extender, I think enough people is gonna want it too. I mean, sorry, I'm saying that depends on the price. We need to see the price. We don't have the price right now, so until we see the price, it's hard to speculate on that.
Yeah, I mean, if they have to price it really high and maybe it doesn't make sense, I don't know. All right, congrats, Fred, for Elon answering your question. And
It's
we're
not.
we're now
It's
back
nothing that
in
I
the
did.
yeah. Let's see. We talked about all the voltages. Extra range should only be external to the vehicle. I don't know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Question: could the low range, because the 4680 batteries are not giving the capacity they promised at Battery Day?
And that might be
Partially, but
something
like
worth
not
exploring. Yeah.
300 to 500. That would be quite a bit.
Yeah.
Any updates on the Model 2 coming from Germany? Keep hearing Model 2 now. I wonder if
Yeah.
we haven't really heard anything, and they didn't announce anything.
Yeah. Well, Elon apparently told the employees there that they're gonna build a car there, but I think it's gonna come from Texas first, though, or maybe even Shanghai first.
Yeah, Shanghai probably. All right, Sylvian, I was also disappointed about the range, but in 2019, they technically never said that 500 miles was with only one battery. Maybe. All right.
Sylvain is applying to be PR for Elon right now. It's Elon's lawyer. Well, he didn't. You never actually said that they would be more.
Yeah, they just have the printed above it, 500 miles.
Yeah.
All right, extended range rentals for trips and towing. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we talked about that. That's when you have a modular battery, there's so many options. So
Yeah.
again, like, how do you get that thing in and out? A lot of questions to answer. All right, Mike the Car Geek says, in my opinion, range is fine, but only 250 kilowatt charging. Is that the limit of the 4680 or the V3 supercharger network? And I guess, beyond that, V3 is 400 volt. V4 supercharger network is 800 volt. Maybe there'll be a bump up later on. What do you think, Fred?
Yeah, that one is the only thing I'm not mad that they didn't discuss at the event, because like I wrote an article earlier yesterday about that, like the charging network is not ready for that. Well, Tesla specifically, charging network is not ready, because even with the V4 supercharger, all of them that we've seen so far don't have the V4 is supposed to, like the stalls are supposed to support 800 volt charging, but the cabinets are not right now. They are V3 cabinets with V4 supercharger stall, which is still not great because the V4 comes with the longer cable, which is lifesavers for the Cybertruck and for non-Tesla EVs that are going to be onboarded into the network. So yeah, to me, I think probably this is going to come later, and it's not the first time that Tesla has done that. Like, release a new charging infrastructure and then tell us, by the way, your vehicle now has a higher charging capacity on that network. So I think that's going to be the approach of that whenever that happens. Yeah, so this one I think is a wait and see.
All right, this is the big one. Question for Fred. Now that you have all the info, or I could say a lot of the info on the Cybertruck, have you decided whether you're going to go with the Cybertruck or the R1T?
Yeah, I mean, right now I have to say, like, I'm very split between the two. I need to go back and see at what price Rivian owes me the R1T, because I think the R1T is gonna be cheaper at this point. I think I can get like a full batch pack R1T for 100,000 Canadian, and now the dual motor Cybertruck for sure is gonna cost over 120, I think. So yeah, I think the Rivian is gonna be a better choice for me, like a more sound financial decision.
That's interesting. What about the vehicle to grid component? Is that a big?
I mean, I have my power walls right here, so it's not that big of a deal for me. Like I've never had a problem where my power walls are not like or not enough. Like I need more, but yeah, I mean, there's always possibility of like apocalypse type scenario going. Like Elon was one of his line in the event, but yeah, it's not a game changer for me.
All right, Mikey G from our daily podcast asks, would you consider the Cyber Beast more or less American compared to the Canoe Bulldog? So Mikey just got back from a 10-day vacation. You might have missed him on the daily. He might have been
he's gonna be
experimenting
back.
with some hallucinogens. So we're gonna forgive that question. We're gonna move on.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone can compare Cybertruck to the Canu Bulldog, he's on something right now,
Yeah,
Mikey.
you need to alter your mind state a little bit. All right, John Wagner, question: is there any news on Tesla upgrading their paint shops in the U.S.? It has been a year since Quicksilver and Midnight Cherry became options in Berlin.
Yeah, I wouldn't hold your breath for that. It's very expensive to upgrade a paint shop. So if you have one right now that is working, you keep it working until
Yeah,
it doesn't. No, don't expect that midnight silver, or cherry red
I'd like
to
to see
come
a
to the
forest
US.
green.
Yeah, I mean, in Texas, the Model Y coming out of Texas, like I wouldn't be surprised if it would be possible there at some point. But that's just going to be the specific Model Y. I don't even know which Model Y they're making right now out of Texas, but that one.
All right, Vince says the original Model S was announced with the swappable battery plan. They even have a special event showing the swappable battery. It never ended up happening other than a single pilot location. Could we be going back to that with the Cybertruck?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Not for the main battery pack for sure, because that's now a structural battery pack.
right.
But yeah, there's this idea that Seth just mentioned earlier in the show that you could have like a automatic swappable battery pack for the one in the bed. That could be interesting because you could then have like rent them for a short period of time. You can swap them real quick to add range.
What's it, 130
There's
miles of range they had?
yeah.
So significant. 2 hours of
Mm-hmm.
driving.
Yeah.
And you know what else you could do? You could put a generator on there, like a electric, like gas powered.
I mean, yeah, if they have the connection already, it's the same
Right.
thing basically.
All right. That's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't see Tesla doing that.
All
But yeah,
right.
that was the confusing thing at first when I first saw the mention on the website range extender. The
Think of
term
BMW
used to be
i3.
used by like BMW for the i3. They call it the i3 with the range extender, and that was a gas generator on it. A few other automakers that use the term like that. So I'm like, that's weird way for Tesla to introduce that.
All right. Sylvian was happy to see that the Cybertruck was coming out with NACS. Okay, that's a good joke. All right. 12 volt came out in the mid 50s and 6 volt starter. All right. 70% of the weight or cost of the wire, do we know? I think they were talking about the weight of the wire, and it makes sense because it's a quarter. So you need a quarter of the thickness to carry the same amount of power when it's 4 times the voltage. So 75, you still need the wrap around the wire. So 70%
Yeah.
of the weight makes sense.
Overall, 70% of the overall wire.
Right.
Maybe not the length of it, but
Right. You can have 10 kilometers of wire in a new car. 70% number of wires. Is there any other production vehicle that uses steer-by-wire? I think that Lexus that had
yeah.
the
The-
yoke also.
And the BZ4X too, I think, no?
Yeah, there's a few, and I think Nissan had one or something. I don't know. It's on Wikipedia. Look it up. All right, Jimmy Stack. The starter batteries have been 100 years old. Lead acid, very short life. Overcharging makes explosive hydrogen very heavy. His friend Sean, and I started a lithium starter batteries, and Tesla followed in the Model S and X. Okay, we got a little advertisement.
Yeah.
All right. We have some French here. What
He's
was the
asking,
botch?
do you want to explain my comment on botch Cybertruck? I think you probably missed it, Eric, but we discussed that earlier
Self-explanatory.
on the show. We shared our opinion pretty clearly.
More steer-by-wire. British reviewers have driven the Cybertruck pre-release. I think Car Wow got it or something.
Yeah, actually, a few got it. Top Gear got one. Car War, Driven, MKBHD, Tesla. They started. They're pushing things a little bit right now.
Yeah, but the British reviewers. I think CarWow is British, right? And I know Top
Yeah.
Gear has a British and a US. I don't know which one got.
Yeah, probably US one, but I think Car War is like big in the US too, I think.
You know, I'm surprised Tesla's working with Top Gear again, because the older version of them was the one who,
Yeah.
I mean, that was a while ago.
Yeah, that was the show. That was Top Gear, the show, and Top Gear, the website too, I think.
All right. However, it
I don't
seems
even know. I think the Top Gear show is not is dead too. I think
is it?
they cancel, I think.
I don't know.
Not sure.
So wait, British reviewers have gotten it. However, it seems the chance of coming to Europe is minimal. Any thoughts? I think it'll come to Europe, just not
I think
anytime
there are
soon.
concerns about the
Size?
regulations with the shapes and the bumper and all that. Like they might not work in Europe. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar enough with regulations in Europe.
Richard Cool is wondering about the holiday lights behind you, or are they holiday lights? Or are you hosting a rave?
Nah, I went on a buying spree with a Cyber Monday, and I got a bunch of lights like this, and I wanted to. I haven't had time to connect them to my app yet, but I want to do something like for a second it was what I wanted to do, but I want to do the Electrek colors in the back
Nice.
for the podcast. I want to do like the blue, teal, and green, light green, and all that. But right now, it's just on like a random mode.
We've talked about this a little bit. The 48-volt battery is not only 48 volts instead of 12, it's also lithium, so there's no more lead. But I think there's a few other. I think the Hyundai Ioniq hybrid had a lithium battery already. So, do you know what thickness SST panels are? If it is really beefy exoskeleton, would it be really handy to tack on and off the custom racks as needed? Don't know.
Do you know, like they did, that makes me think they did sort of explain in the Bulletproof, I'm working on a Bulletproof video article based on the video, the exoskeleton for that. Like, because the panel is strong enough, it does add a little bit to the structural integrity of the vehicle, which makes it an exoskeleton. So I don't know how much it contributes, but it contributes a little bit with some tension. So they say it's exoskeleton. But yeah, it looks a lot closer to a regular way to build a car than an exoskeleton. There's no doubt about it.
All right. You nailed it by calling the car dealer to customer relationship as adversarial. Fact that after sale service is a big part of their business model is a very telling item. A lot of people have been saying that like EVs don't require a lot of maintenance, and maybe that's why the car dealers are so adversarial. Certainly possible. Question of legacy brands. Who do you think can pivot to direct sales of EVs and not get sued by their dealers?
No one.
Yeah, Volvo's kind of trying to get around it with the Polestar and Geely, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's a hard one because like a lot of states, the laws are pretty clear. And then those where like Tesla was able to to change the laws and everything, it's always things like that makes it clear. It's like electric vehicles only, and then it's if you don't already have dealers that represent your brand in the States. So it makes it pretty clear that legacy automakers don't have that opportunity.
All right, Mitchell Clark says for $116,000 you can get close to the specs that Tesla provided by compromising on space in the tray. Seems like it all comes down to the 4680 not meeting the economics or density targets. That's certainly possible. That 4680s, Tesla thought they were going to be 30% more powerful or contain 30% more energy capacity, but we
Do you understand the first part of the comment though?
I don't know about the price. I guess he's extrapolating out the price of the extender.
Okay, does he mean like to get to the original spec that Tesla announced, the truck would have costed that? Something like that?
Yeah, I guess it's very, very oddly specific.
Yeah.
Was it me or did anyone else think Elon's cheekbones looked swollen at the event? It was super dark, so hard to see clearly. I don't
Yeah, I mean the event looked like at the beginning when he jumped into the back of the truck, he's like, I want to do from here. It looked like so clear that Tesla was not prepared for that. They didn't have a light on him. They couldn't get a light there. So
It was so cringy.
it was a mess. I don't know about Elon's physical appearance though. I won't comment on that.
All right, it's not just the car dealer cartel, it's the oil cartel that is strenuously recommending that the government needs to lay off the poor petroleum producers. Yeah, it's obvious about that. We've noticed a lot more negative EV stuff on YouTube and everywhere lately. All right, David Piern, bidirectional charging not talked about is because Elon Musk knows he doesn't know enough about it himself.
I don't think he doesn't know enough about it. I think I think he was concerned about cannibalizing the Powerwall for a while, and then he doesn't like the idea of cycling the vehicle batteries for anything else than for vehicles, because he sees how that can make Tesla's car business look worse over time with faster battery degradation. I think those are his concerns, which are completely fair concerns. I just don't think that those concerns are like big enough that you shouldn't do it. And it looks like that they agreed on that because Tesla is doing it. I think it's the best solution is like make those concerns clear to the customers. They can make their own decision and make the product as good as it can be, which looks like a pretty good product, that Powershare thing.
Richard Cool asked thoughts about the Elon interview with the New York Times. That was the day before the event.
Yeah.
There was a part where Elon went a little bit ballistic on Disney CEO Robert.
Yeah.
But I saw a lot of bad press about it. I watched the whole thing. It didn't seem different than any other.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I thought at that moment, I thought he looked a little bit unhinged. Unhinged, or it looked like, and Jamie agreed with me on that, it looked like he was acting a bit. It looked like he was like performing, is like when he said F you and like F, like if you want to do that, F you, like it didn't feel like real to me. Like, I mean, if he was, it looked like he was angry, but it looked like he was like playing to the crowd with it, which like, if you're really angry about it, like be angry, but I don't know. The main thing that I took out of this event is he apologized for the tweet where he approved of the anti-Semites / white supremacists that did that, and he looked sincere when he did that. He admitted that it was wrong and everything. I don't know why he couldn't do that right after he did the tweet, and he had to wait a week to do it. That, like I wrote in that article that I wrote, that looked like the longer that he doesn't apologize for this, the worse it looks. And it took a whole week for him to apologize. So that's not great. And it's also a bit weird when you're like, at the same time that he apologized for, like, hey, I screwed up. Okay, I screwed. I don't think he admitted that he agreed with the anti-Semite and that. But anyway, he's like, I screwed up with that. So that's basically an admission that like he did that. He did the agree with an anti-Semite. And then at the same time, you're like, screw you, everyone that took away their money on the platform where I did that and where I did show ads to on anti-Semite content. So it's like, can you really be angry? Like, if there's someone you need to be angry at, it might be you in this case. Like, it might be like, I screwed up, like, sorry, and I understand that you wouldn't want to advertise on a platform like that, and you don't want to. That's fine. Like, that's it.
Yeah. All right, we're getting pretty far along, so I'm going to kind of speed through some of these. Is the electric pickup market getting traction? Is it missing the Cybertruck to really accelerate? I think so. I think the electric pickup market is, because there is a lot of advantages to electric versus gas, and obviously there's some advantages for gas for like long drives and towing. They might be throttling range until they have more performance data, like they did with the previous models. Thoughts? I mean, they could always have some software updates that add a few miles. Other than Rivian's,
I don't know. Like, what we're hearing is that there's 123 kilowatt hour battery pack in the dual motor version. So I don't know how much more range you can get out of that.
Kwame, other than Rivian's Amazon truck, what electric truck would be best suited for municipalities and commercial use? Ford Lightning, Rivian, Cybertruck. Well, I think maybe the Ford E-Transit is probably more of a municipality vehicle, and obviously there's a bunch of smaller outfits, and GM's Bright Drop. So those are probably your best bets. Question: in your opinion, does making a few changes to the front bumper or lights constitute a design change to you, as compared to a Honda or Toyota or GM making a big design change every 5 years or so? So this person, I think, is referring to the Model 3 Highland update.
No, Model 3 Island is a decent refresh.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure what they're talking about. Tesla future purchasing plan available in Spain, kind of leasing. I'm not familiar with that.
Oh yeah, I don't know what Antoine is asking.
Yeah. Any idea what technical necessary before Cybertruck is allowed in EU? Is it a size thing?
I think it's more of like the bumper and things like that are not too up to regulation. But again, I'm not an expert in that.
All right, Top Gear P said no Euro seat Cybertruck because the safety regs.
There you go. Yeah, they probably know better.
And then finally, with the waiting list years long, I can see why they would increase the price of the Cybertruck. Any thoughts on profit margin and possible future price cuts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much the waiting list has an impact on this. Like, obviously, I think there's room for the price of the truck to come down in the future. But I think, well, nah, now that you say it, like, yeah, I mean, I guess there is probably an impact on that front, because Tesla is actually also planning to produce fewer Cybertruck than we originally thought it would. Tesla, like a lot of people were talking about, there's 2 million reservations, so Tesla's going to make like 500,000 truck a year or something like that, which you still have like 4 years of backlog before you even start production. But then now they're talking about 250,000 vehicles a year, a much lower number. So yeah, there's also this core group of Tesla owner that just buy the latest Tesla vehicle every time. Like every time there's a new Ludicrous, there's a new Plaid, there's a new, like, they buy a new car. Like there's a core group, like in the thousands and thousands of people that are just going to buy the Cybertruck whatever price it is. So yeah, and now they're going to want the Cyber Beast. So there's this. And then maybe Tesla can slow down the price after that, reduce the price a bit. But I don't see that happening until it's fully ramped up, which is 2025. And then by then you're gonna have the $60,000 version. So yeah, I wouldn't itch my hope to price cuts on the Cybertruck.
All right, that's all for the.
Yes, I appreciate every single one of you that's been listening to the show this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy the Cybertruck launch event or the watch party if you joined us. If you do enjoy the show, please give us a thumbs up, a like, a subscribe. All those things are free to do. Helps the show a ton. Thanks a lot to VMAX for sponsoring this week's episode. And we're going to see you same